Because we live in a noisy world, the need for you to have some quiet time and then evaluate yourself, know how much progress you have made, and then the areas in which you need to do better cannot be overemphasized. This is today's live on Equa Television International, and we're live on Facebook and YouTube at Equa Television. Do well to join the conversation. It's Monday, and because it's always a work day, we are discussing self-evaluation. So what do you think about self-evaluation? Have you had some quiet time lately, or you have been busy in a noisy world? My name is Joyce Jakada. I'm not doing this alone. I have Prudence Berger. Good morning.
Good morning, Joyce.
Well, I know there are a lot of expectation. Engineer Tony J. Nakali is not here, and Sambu Solomon. So it's half house. The house is
Yeah.
not complete today, and we apologize on their behalf, but hopefully they'll be here tomorrow. And the reason is because they actually engage with other official responsibilities. So we hope they join us tomorrow. Let's talk about self-evaluation. Prudence. Honestly, we live in a noisy world.
Mm-hmm.
Like everywhere you go to is noise. It's just so noisy, and it's difficult for you to hear when the environment is noisy. There are times that somebody might be talking to you. If the place is noisy, there's no way you hear the person. There are times that, can you all keep quiet? You hear parents telling the children, can you just shut up? Can I have some peace? These are statements or cliches that we're living with today. Can I have some peace? Like, can I have some silence? So when you talk about self-evaluation, like it's just the ability for you to just assess yourself, evaluate yourself, and know how much progress you're making or areas in which you need to do better. We live in a work environment. Like, have you tried like to evaluate yourself?
I think that's one of the most important things that you as a person can do for your mental well-being. I would like to use that word because self-evaluation is one thing that keeps you in check. You find self-evaluation in your work. You find yourself doing a certain form of self-evaluation in your uh, life, just life in general. It could be your religion, you're still doing a self-evaluation. You constantly find yourself doing self-evaluation, although sometimes the result of this evaluation is not always good. And when I say not always good, we all have tendencies of thinking in the negative. We all have tendencies of seeing things negatively. And so sometimes even when it seems like you're doing well, or when you come to have a self evaluation, especially if you do have a low self esteem already, you tend to have a negative result because you're not seeing the good that you're doing. Instead, you just keep on seeing the bad that you're doing. And it could be detrimental. So for me, evaluation is like a two-way thing. It could either build you or destroy you, but it is important that you evaluate yourself constantly. And one thing that we fail to do when we are evaluating ourselves is tell ourselves the truth. See, when you're evaluating yourself, okay, so for instance, I go to work, I wake up every morning, weekdays, Monday to Friday. I go to work, I do what I need to do, I come back home. So I need to evaluate myself. What exactly do I do within the span that I'm in at work? For some people, you just come to work, sit down, relax, eat, drink, because some people really do that at the work environment. Then go back home and do nothing else. And at the end of the day, you say you had a productive day, but if they ask you you don't even see the result at the end of the day. Yeah, sometimes even when you put in hard work, you don't end up seeing the result at the end of the day, but maybe on the long run. But what I'm talking about now is that it's pure laziness. You sit down and you're lazy, and when somebody tells you, uh, I'm not so sure you're doing your work right. You take offense. You become defensive. That means while evaluating yourself, you don't tell yourself the truth. Because if you're telling yourself the truth, you yourself would have noticed that I'm slacking, I'm lagging behind. I need to up my game so that I can fill up the gap. Let me catch up with my colleagues, or even let me surpass my colleagues. No, you're not even thinking of that. You're just thinking, I come to work. At the end of the month, I still get my salary.
That's also an evaluation.
That's what I'm saying. And that's the point I'm trying to make. Sometimes we lie to ourselves when we are doing evaluations. You tell yourself you're doing well, you're doing awesome, but in the real sense of it, you're not doing nothing. You're actually just lazying about. And a lot of times that is what you find in our society today.
Prudence, generally, I think in life, we need that quiet time to evaluate ourselves. Like, think about it. You've been living for 25 years, 24 years, 30 years, 40 years of living. Like, what do you make of your life? Are you impacting in the world? Are you making the world a better place, or you're constituting one of the problems that the world is dealing with? Generally, you need to have that quiet time. Assess yourself. What are your purpose? I think this is one of the answers that a lot of people struggle to answer. What's my purpose? People ask that question. How do I find purpose? And all of that. And because we are talking about work, there are times that I say I pity some organizations, companies, or businesses because of the kind of people that they employ. Think about it, that you invest a lot or your life savings just to come up with a company or a business, and then within a month, somebody that doesn't know how many years it took you to build that business just crumbles it. We have people that go to particular restaurants or businesses to patronize, but the attitude they get, they don't return to such place. It kills the business. At work, there are people that just come to register their presence. You come in the morning, you just signed, arrived 7:30, even when they came 10 o'clock. And then they just come sit down, and it's closing time. 5 minutes to closing time, they are up already, and then they move. As far as they are concerned, they are owing the company. The company is actually owing them for that particular day. And that's how you just keep living your life. You come, you go, you come, you go. No impact. No productivity.
I think the problem here lies in the fact that those people, or whoever that person is, if it is you out there watching us right now, it's that you're living your life thinking that you're doing every other person a favor for being alive. But you're not doing nobody a favor for being alive. You're doing yourself a favor for working hard. If you do what you need to do or you have to do, you're doing it for yourself.
Of course, there's always consequences. There are, because people like that, Prudence, they don't see the consequences of their actions. They don't even envision it happening. But of course, because you cannot live your life carelessly and then expect that the result will always be good.
True.
There's always repercussion. For every decision you take, there is a consequences to that. So if you toward the path of good, at the end of the day, you reap from there. If you toward the path of the negative, you also reap from there. So self-evaluation is needful, very needful, especially in our world today, in workplaces. If you really want to grow, if you really want to be productive, there are people in organizations, in companies, that when they are not there, the organization will look for them. There are times that the GM will say on this platform, there are people that even if they say, oh, I want to resign, they will beg them, please don't go, you have to stay. Why? Because they're actually contributing, they are impacting. Like, the company is really feeling their impact. But then there are other people that would say, even if they don't even say that, oh, I'm resigning, the organization or the company will be praying, can this person just go? Can this person just go? Because you're not contributing anything. So it starts, your productivity starts from self-evaluation. The day you come to work, the time you're closing, ask yourself, what have I done today? What have I achieved? What did I do differently? There are people that do that by coming up with to-do lists. The moment they get into the office, they just pick a piece of paper and they write their to-do list. Like it's a to-do list. This is what I want to achieve before the end of the day. There's no way that you'll be distracted by gist. There's no way that somebody will just come and sit in your office and start talking with you or gisting with you when you have something. There's a target already. There's something you want to achieve before the end of the day. You won't even give room for gossip and all of that. But the moment you come to work like every other person that does not have any goal to accomplish or is not living on purpose, you find out that, oh, you didn't even do anything. There are some people that are actually busy in the organization but not doing, like, living up to their own responsibility. You are employed to be a secretary, and then the documents, you don't even know where they are, but you are helping another person to clean. And then when it's at the end of the month, you say, I've been working now. I came for 30 days, 31 days. I've been working. But you've not evaluated yourself to see if you are really living up to your responsibility in that organization or in that business. Some people start up a business and there's no record, there's nothing. They just come to shop as they sell, or maybe probably they are sales girls, because I don't see any reason why you spend money to build up a business and you will not be accountable, like you don't have proper record keeping. There are people that you employ maybe as sales girls. They go to the shop, as they sell, they buy things, they eat. As they sell, they buy things and eat. Anybody that pass, they buy and eat. They don't care. And that is why sooner or later you find out that such businesses just crumble. So the need for self-evaluation cannot be overemphasized. It's something that we should gladly do. Like, not just once in a while, but something you do every day. If you want to grow, if you want to succeed, if you want to leave the world a better place, then every day you go back home, you ask yourself, these 24 hours that God has given me, this job that God has given me, this business that God has given me, what have I done today that is adding up? What have I done today that is impacting the world, that is making the world a better place? These are questions that are actually critical. If I've been employed to be a presenter, how well are you presenting? If you're being employed to be a secretary, how well are you doing that work? If you are employed as a cleaner, how clean is that environment? These are things that you should be asking yourself. But you cannot be trusted with things and then you don't care. All your focus on is, at the end of the month, these people should just pay me. Like you said earlier on, like, you're not doing the organization, the company, or the business. It is yourself. And no wonder you'll be there. In some places, you see other people that will come later on, grow and become better than people that have been existing in that place for years. Why? Because they put their hearts to the work. They kept evaluating themselves. If I do something today, Prudence, when I'm doing it tomorrow, I should be better at it. There's no reason that you'll be doing something today, tomorrow you are doing it, and then you're going below the standard, or you are compromising.
It's a nasty thing that I would just sit down and not grow. Excuse me, everybody wants to grow. Everybody wants to have a feeling of being important. But you see, the problem now lies in the fact that we, as you mentioned earlier, we don't live with purpose. And over the weekend, I actually got to a clearer understanding of how very important purpose is. See, even as a Christian, you're living your life, you need to live based on purpose. What is the purpose of my living? Why am I here? What on earth am I here for? And all those things, they're really quite important. But you see, we don't focus on that. While we were having this discussion, and someone mentioned that the issue of purpose has been really watered down. People don't consider purpose anymore. People just see purpose as just another concept. It's just something else that it's just some words that some people just speak, and you don't carefully check what exactly my purpose is. And we were talking about how if you're living according to your purpose, you would find peace. We did not say satisfaction. Hear that? It wasn't satisfaction. It's not that you would feel just happy. No. We said peace if you're working according to your purpose. Because when you're working according to the purpose that you have been placed here on earth for, then there's a certain form of peace that comes with it. You know that whether you're facing what form of storm, I'll pass through it, I'll get over it. Your reactions will be different. But when you're not working on purpose, if any form of struggle comes or whatever hurdle is in front of you, your reaction is different. You easily become depressed. You easily become distracted. You easily find yourself losing interest in whatever you're doing because of the hurdle, because you're not working based on purpose. And for you to find your purpose, you need self-evaluation. I think there's one concept that everyone on today's life has drummed, has insisted on, we have continuously said, and that is, who am I? That's the most important question you need to ask. If you have answered, who am I? Who am I? Then you would be able to answer, what on earth am I here for? If you are able to answer, what on earth am I here for? Then you would work with diligence towards that thing that you are here on earth for. But if you're not doing that, there's no way, there's no how that you're going to succeed. It's not going to happen. It's not a miracle. It's something that you have to put your effort in. Even Christianity is effort. Your even growth on its own is effort, because you still need to eat to grow. Like I mean, like physically grow. But we don't want to have to eat to grow in our minds. We don't want to grow in our attitudes. You're not evaluating your attitude. That's even the one that worries me the most.
That is
What
why
is your
prudence, that's why
attitude?
people will tell you that I don't care, whatever.
Yes.
You cannot have problem with Mr. A. You're talking about attitude. Now I'm having issue with Mr. A, Mr. B, Mr. C, and I don't think anything is wrong with me. Like, how can everybody be complaining of the same thing? It only takes self-assessment and evaluation for you to know that, no, probably maybe my approach is wrong, or maybe there's something I'm doing that is not adding up. It only takes self-evaluation for you to even know that, oh, this is actually the problem. No, maybe I should. A lady shared an experience. She always have failed relationships, and she said the last one she had, that she felt, oh, this is going to work out and everything. But at the end of the day, the guy also left. And she said, this should not be, there should be a problem. There's a problem somewhere. And then after assessing herself, she found out that, oh, there's actually an attitude or a character that they're actually running away from. No, nobody wants to settle with a wife that cannot be a helpmeet. Like, nobody wants to have a wife that cannot help them in any way. So she realized that there's an attitude that she needs to deal with so that she can have a relationship that will work for her. And it was at that point that she started working on herself. There are people that in evaluating themselves, they find out that, oh, I have issues, anger issues, and that there's need for me to find a way of managing my anger. Nobody is saying that that emotion is bad or is wrong. Like, it's a natural emotion. Humans and non-humans express that. You've seen how dogs can just express anger and all of that. So both human, non-human experience that. What do I need to do if this emotion, like, I've not been having control over it? Anytime I'm angry, it's either I'm looking for something to just injure somebody, to fight with people, to insult, to say things that at the end of the day I will now be regretting. How can I manage this anger? She started praying about it, and then there are times that when she just gets angry, she just leaves that place, or she's quiet, so she doesn't end up saying things that she will later regret. It is in self-evaluation that you check, like, what exactly, that you know what exactly is the problem. So some people are dealing and struggling, like, with terrible attitude, bad characters that have not allowed them to grow even in their workplace. Like, you have some character issues that unless you deal with it, you cannot even contribute to the growth of that organization. No wonder whether you're there or you're not there. Nobody is bothered about your presence at the organization. So we need to, like I said earlier on, daily evaluate ourselves. Like, think about it. If everybody is to put on this cloth of self-evaluation, then the world will be a better place. A lot of things we'll not even be talking about.
I like that you said the cloth of self-evaluation, but the right self-evaluation, because a lot of times, as I mentioned earlier, we give ourselves the wrong answers to our questions.
I agree with you, Prudence. Now, it comes with pride, because it is only pride that will make me evaluate myself and still rate myself high even when things are not going on well. Yes, people do that, and that's why you hear people saying, as far as I'm concerned, I'm doing my work. So if you are not seeing anything, that is your business. You have employees saying that, like, business, or let me say sales representative, or sales girls or boys, as far as they are concerned, they are doing their work. So if you're not seeing it, that is your business. Like, these are comments that you always hear people doing. Even at the academic setting in school, you hear people say, me, I cannot kill myself, or I'll just do my best. I had one customer then that said, that A and B is for you people. Me, I just want to get C and just go. Whether C or D, as far as it's not a carryover, let me just go. These are statements that you just say just to just appeal to your ego, or you had already settled for average or mediocrity. Like, whatever comes goes. You don't strive for excellence, and that is why even when you evaluate yourself, as far as you're concerned, you're doing well. You don't evaluate yourself with people, comparing yourself with people that are ahead of you. There are people that when they evaluate themselves,
You compare yourself
with people that you're higher. You ask a child that, why did you come 10th position? You tell you, am I not better than the person that took position 15, or the person that came last in the class? So people do that. When they assess themselves, they'll be like, oh, well, I'm even better than this person. What about the other person that is ahead of you? Don't you think that you should compare yourself with, not really like you're competing negatively, but in
Something
assessing
to boost
yourself? Why do we have people say, oh, this person is my mentor, this person is my role model? You want to be like that person. There's something you see in that person that is good, even though some role models and mentors are towards the negative. So if it's something good, then strive for excellence. Don't rate yourself, don't evaluate yourself using people that are far behind you. No, you always see nothing wrong with you, and sooner or later you become irrelevant.
And there's also one other aspect that I think is quite important. While you're rating yourself, if you find that everybody, and when I say everybody, every other person around you is happy with you, there's still a question mark. Because if you're doing the right thing, not everybody will be pleased. So you need to check that as well. It's important that when you are evaluating yourself, you're not just straight-minded, streamlined. No, you have to be open so that you will see both the negative and the positive. The negative, you work on how to make them positive, or discard them, or throw them away, something like that nature. And for the positive, you work on how to make them better, so that you polish it and people will see you. I mean, not see you rather, but then that positive will be what would be when someone sees you. You'll be associated with, oh no, this person is hardworking. This person does this thing from his whole heart. Just on Sunday, there was this guy who sang in church, and I said, I came back. We came back home and we were having a discussion with my family, and my mom was like, "This is what happens when you work on yourself constantly. You dedicate yourself. You have a different approach to things, and you have a form of way to No, to project what is within you out for people to see, and people are influenced by that. If you're not someone who evaluates yourself and tells yourself the truth, then there's no glow that would come out. You would be a dim light. Your light would not blossom. It would not shine. That flower that is, it will still continue being a bud. It will not blossom into a flower. That's the problem. A lot of times, we are not even, as I said earlier, we are not eager to grow. If we were eager to grow, then we would definitely find ourselves, even subconsciously, we would be evaluating ourselves. What am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? How should I work on what I'm doing wrong? What approach is the best to use? How do I communicate with people? When I'm talking to this person in the office, what is the best way to communicate? You begin to develop intelligence. And when I say intelligence, I mean emotional intelligence, cultural intelligence, all those other form of intelligence. You begin to develop them. You have an edge over other people because you know that you're evaluating yourself and you're telling yourself the truth. Yeah, sometimes external evaluation helps you to, okay, so this person says this about you. The next person says the same thing about you. The following day, another person says the same thing about you. And it keeps going on and on and on and on. And you get the same report. And if it is negative, I think it's important that you come back, take a time out, check out yourself. What exactly am I doing that's making people have this picture of who am I, this image of who I am? And when you do that, when you do that, you don't just drop it there. Sometimes you evaluate yourself and just leave it there, and you're not even acting on the evaluations. No, you have to work on those things that you have noticed, because if you don't work on them, there's no importance to whatever evaluation you have done for yourself, because evaluation is towards growth. We have evaluations, I think quarterly evaluations at the organization here, and you find that we check out what have we been doing so far, what good have we gone out to do, how do we make it better, how do we polish it to make it more attractive, and then we also check out what have we been doing wrong and what can we do to eradicate the negativities that are surrounding us in the office and all that thing. You find that not just our organization here, but a number of other organizations tend to do that, and it's because they want to see growth. We want to see growth. We want to see that we are developing. We want to see that we are out there. We want to see a difference. We want to see that we are affecting and influencing our society. But when we don't do that with ourselves, then what we are doing in the organization would just be watered down. Because as much as the organization is doing her best to make you better, you have to work on yourself to make you better.
The point of change and the point of growth begins with you.
Yes.
So like you said, no matter what the organization does, if the person is not willing to change, you just keep going back and forth with that person. Or at the end of the day, you just relieve the person from his or her duties. What is very sacrosanct and important is the fact that, like you said earlier on, and it's just the fact that we always emphasize on this show, come to the realization of who you are. What are you here on earth for? Don't align with the people or with the group that are saying, we are just here to accompany people. Like, you accept your faith. Yes, you were not born into the wealthy family and all of that, but can't you strive to break the chain? We've seen people out there that have done it. Some of these rich people, when they tell you their stories, they will tell you, I hawked, I did this and that, but I decided to break the chain. I don't want to continue in that circle of, oh, it's the family that I'm coming from, and that's how we are, and I cannot change it. They work on it. Some people tell, oh, my family, we're all fighters, and you too, you want to tear that part. My family, everybody's a gossip. You want to also do that. Can't you break the chain? I think one of the problems why people, even after evaluating themselves, they don't work on the problem, what is holding them down, is the fact that they are satisfied with where they are. Secondly, there's also the issue of pride, and then people engage in unhealthy competition, that they don't strive for excellence. Rather, what they strive to is to be like there's somebody they are competing with. If this person buys shoe, I'll go and look for another shoe and buy. If this person buys wrappers, then I'll go and buy two. If she buys one, I'll buy 10. Like if this person buys this particular brand of car, I'll buy the latest of it. You can only be the second version of that person.
True.
You can only be the second version of that person. But when you realize that this is who you are, this is what you are made for, then what you'll be doing is to be striving to be better than you were yesterday. If I'm given this work to do, and then I did, and based on my rating, 5/10, when I'm going to do that job tomorrow, at the end of the day, I should rate myself 7/10. I should keep growing on that. Like, don't see your work or your the work you do like you're doing it onto like someone to just, but can you ask yourself, what impact are you making? Look at the people that are every day coming up with innovations. Think about it. If these people have not done or brought all of these innovations, today you have a phone, you have light, you have this and that. If all of these people that created all these things or came up with those innovations didn't do it, how would life be? So can you also, in your self-assessment, in your evaluation, what am I also contributing? See, there's no reason why you should say, this is who am I, or this is who I am. Like, if you don't like me, go and hug transformer. No, this is not who you are created to be. No, God did not create you to be like that.
Yes, and Joyce, I want to do a link up right now. I want to link the Christian faith and work. You see, the Christian faith, apart from the fact that you have gained your salvation from God, you still work out your salvation with fear and trembling. Your faith, rather, with fear and trembling. And when you're doing that, it should be evident in whatever phase you're working or whatever platform you're working on, like socially here. And why I'm saying that is that if you know that you're working, whatever you're working towards it's not now, it's later, you're working towards something glorious later on, you would implement it in your work here on earth, because you want to see that glory start from here before you reach that place where you see the eternal glory. But you see, we don't approach work with that attitude. It's like it's just the end of the month. You work with the attitude, at the end of the month, I'm getting my reward. That's how a lot of us are working. We're just working towards, oh no, at the end of the month, I'm going to get my reward. At the end of the month, I'm getting my rewards. They will send me my salary. That's why I'm working. I come to work every day just to get my salary. So you're not putting in your best. You're not looking forward to the glorious reward ahead of time. And you mentioned that you see a lot of big people out there, people who have been successful, and they'll tell you, I hawked, I did certain menial jobs, and before I got to this point. But if you know why that person got to that point, it's because this person continuously evaluated himself. Okay, so I'm better than this place I am right now. And if I work a little bit harder, I would accomplish to this point. Then if I put in more effort, I'll accomplish to this point. That's self-evaluation as well. Because you're evaluating, how is my strength? Over how many years can I picture myself being at this point where I have already pictured myself? And how much effort am I going to put towards that? But we are not doing that.
We just want to be like that. Yes. God will butter my bread. One day, it's just a matter of time. Yes, God is a miracle working God and all of that. He works in ways that, yes, you cannot imagine and understand. But uncle, auntie, sister, brother, don't sleep, don't sleep on duty.
Interestingly, why we have that attitude, I don't understand, because every single person recorded in the Bible who had any form of success worked it. Yes, they had promises. Abraham had promises. Isaac had promises. Jacob had promises. Joseph had promises. Joseph even dreamed of being a leader above his parents, his siblings. But he worked towards it.
There was also self-evaluation, because there are times that they were expected to even compromise, but they said no. It only takes evaluation, discipline, knowing that this is not what I'm supposed to do. Some of us are just yes. You go, you can like get a job with the determination to become better, to do well at the job, but when you go, sooner or later you just compromise. No, everybody is just settling for average. Now if I do, they will say over sabi, or different kinds of English they will use just to make you feel bad about yourself. Some will say, oh, Mother Mary, oh, you cannot lie, right? When they say let's lie to steal this money, and you say you will not lie, they will call you, oh, sister, brother, and all of that, just to make you feel bad. See, if you are determined to strive for excellence, if you strive for excellence and you want to achieve greatness, you want to achieve success, then you must be deliberate about the steps you take. How can I say I want to go to school and I want to graduate with a good result, to be the best and all of that, and then I get to school and then my friend is saying, let's go partying now, let's go clubbing, we have exams the next day, and your friend is saying, oh, can we just go and chill out and all of that? If you know where you are headed, the knowing who you are and your purpose, you will say no. I remember an experience in school back then, Prudence. A friend told me, okay, we're just called, we're preparing for exams, and then there was a message on the group chat, oh, we're having a test today at 10 a.m. It was impromptu. And then she said, don't worry, let's not go, we don't have to go. The lecturer is my family friend, or is he my friend? I can't remember. I looked at her, I just carried my bag and I said, say nada out till I come back. And then she told me that, Joyce now. I said, no, you is your family friend.
He's not.
He's not my family friend. Even if he's my family friend, I don't have strength to go and be following people. I'm doing please now. When you know what to do and you refuse to do it. So I just decided to just go, and then she just said, wait for me, and she followed me and we just went together. So you cannot be striving for excellence and be compromising. No, you don't have to do it. Once you know what you're doing is the right thing, you evaluated yourself and you see that, oh, maybe the past few weeks, the past few months, I've been compromising. I've not been living up to my responsibility. It's not late. Since you're still on the job, can you just assess yourself and think, how am I contributing to the growth of this place? If the people that were there before you were compromising and were not living up to their responsibility, with the organization be existing? No. So as you're evaluating yourself, you need to put on the armor of discipline as well. Be determined not to compromise. Always remind yourself of your primary assignment in the organization. When you do that, you have your to-do list. If you're somebody that easily get distracted, when you come to work, tell yourself before the end of the day, these are the things that I should achieve. And if you're able to even achieve 50%, and maybe tomorrow when you have the to-do list, you see yourself achieving 60-70%, and before you know, your attention is on the things that you have set to do. But when you just come to work with nothing, like there's no agenda, am I not just a presenter, let me just come, and any show that just come I do and just get out. No, don't even settle like within your terrain. Be comfortable where you are. For the past 3, 4, 5 years you have been doing the same thing, no growth, no improvement. Something is wrong.
There's something wrong somewhere. And that's what brings you to the question of, who are you evaluating yourself against? What are you evaluating yourself about? We don't ask those questions. When you're evaluating yourself, I know I'm doing great now, I'm doing good, then you pamper yourself and just continue living. You're not looking at, what is the standard? What is my standard? That's also part of self-evaluation. In fact, that's the key point of self-evaluation. What is my standard? What is my priority? What is my goal? What is my passion? What is my purpose. We're back to purpose again. But I said, what is your goal? What is and who is it that you are basing your whole life around, or your whole being around? That's also an important question. And I'm saying that as a Christian, because if you're surrounding yourself around God, then you would evaluate yourself based on his standards. But if you're not looking and around and surrounding yourself around God, then you're basing your your evaluation based on the human standards.
That's true.
And based on human standards, you would not reach, you will not get the excellence you're looking for.
You know, today at workplaces, people find it really hard to differentiate between who a Christian is and who is a non-Christian. And the reason is because we are all compromising. We don't have a standard that we are actually like looking at. You are a Christian. You should know that wherever you find yourself, if you're an accountant there, before being an accountant, you are a Christian. So that should be your standard as you work. So what is God saying about diligence? Have you seen a man skilled in what he's doing? He'll serve before kings. You should apply it in your job, in that work, in that business that you're doing. Be diligent. Like, there's no room for mediocrity, because God, the standard as for you as a Christian is not mediocrity. So you will strive to be better. Like, I'm a Christian, so even at my workplace, I should be known for the truth. But there are people that they are Christians, and then somebody will say, this one that is always lying. What are you evaluating yourself with? What's your Christianity about? We always say that in the days of old, believers were called Christian because of the Christ-like attitude. This is not just to say it is only when they go for fellowship, but the people see them and see Christ in them, Christ-like attitude. That's what is in there. No wonder they call them Christians. In our workplaces today, in our places of business, can people see us and say, yes, this person is actually a Christian? Because you also need to evaluate yourself at work, understand on this standard. What do you believe in? What do you stand for? If I'm saying I'm a Christian, I'm a child of God, then it should also be seen in my place of work. Do you work when you have supervisors, like your boss is around? So that's when you work. Your boss is not around, you live your life, you abscond from work, you just come and sign out and you just go. Like, is that how you live? We should also evaluate ourselves on that. I think if we do that, then we'll not be having issues of theft at workplaces, that the name of a Christian will be mentioned. Either you're part of it or you supported it. You are supposed to do a particular job at a particular time. You don't do it and you lie. And you are a Christian. So there are times that you should sit down and ask yourself, this work that I'm doing, have I really been a Christian as I claim to be, or as people think I am? Am I really representing Christ? This cleaning that I'm doing, is Christ seen in it? This security work I'm doing, is Christ seen in it? Am I truly doing it, or I'm just here like every other person, just to wait for the salary and get it and just get away? Yeah. So I think it's very important that we also evaluate ourselves on that as Christians. Am I really living up to God's expectation of me? That yes, he has a representative in Equa TV. He has a representative in this, maybe in that bank that you're working in. He has a representative in that civil service commission that you are. Like, can God say, yes, I have a representative in that place? Or you are just busy compromising, like just living like every other person? These are questions that are key as well.
You know how we're talking about compromising in relationships? We find that a lot in working environments. It's like compromise is the key thing now. It's like if you don't compromise, nobody will see your importance. But you see one interesting and very lovely example that we find in the Bible. Daniel. There was no compromise. He said, it's either this or not. When they said nobody should pray to any other god, Daniel did not go to pray because they said don't pray to any other god. It was because he had already evaluated himself, and he knows that constant prayer with his fellowship with his Father, his God, is the best option for him. So regardless what they said, because he has already evaluated himself and he knows that this thing that I have been doing is the right thing, he went back and prayed, regardless the consequences. There's something that evaluation, self-evaluation, and implementation does to you. It gives you courage. I said that whatever hurdle comes your way, you are able to cross it if you are evaluating yourself right and implementing it rightly. That's the truth. If you evaluate yourself, especially based on God's standards, you have a form of authority. You have this courage that comes with it. If you don't have that, you would easily be dragged down. But when you have that courage, standing firm on these characters that are solely based on God's standards, then you would not easily be dragged down. You would stand firm. You would be strong. See, Paul, Peter, they were fishermen. Do you see? Those people were talking to literates, to educated people, fishermen, talking to somebody who has gone through school for years and years. This person is saying more sense in what you're saying than what his colleagues are saying. That's what happens when you evaluate yourself rightly. Because if you don't continuously evaluate yourself rightly, if Peter hadn't gotten to the point that he had to evaluate himself to the point he wept because he denied Jesus, and after that he got up and did what he needed to do.
We have so many examples, Prudence, even David do that as well. He always goes back broken and he will weep, God have mercy on me. Like, he knows that what he did was wrong. And no wonder at the end of the day, God said, he's a man after his own heart. Imagine that we do that. You go home, you evaluate yourself. Like I said earlier on, we live in a noisy world. Can you just have some quiet time? It is in having that quiet time, like just have some quiet time, that you begin to think. You go back through the day and see, what are the things that I did that are not right? What are the things that I did very well? Applaud yourself. Do better. And yet, what are the areas that I failed God? Even as a Christian, think about it. Where are the areas that I failed God? You lied. You cheated on somebody, even in business. Maybe something that is supposed to be for 1,000. You told the person 4,000. He paid, and you think that, oh, you are smart. No, God is counting that against you as sin. Some people will say, oh, it's called business. No, it's not called business. You cheated somebody, and it's a sin. So we shouldn't be working in a place, or as a worker, you can't even be trusted with even your own primary responsibility. It's always excuse. Like, excuse. There's no reason why, like, our God did not fail, and we should not be found living in failure. And that's why we are encouraged, when you fall, you rise up again, but don't fall and remain there. So maybe you have come to the realization, or you have not come, or you've not been evaluating yourself. I think the time is now. Think about it. For the past years that I've been in this business, that I've been in this company, that I've been in this organization, what impact have I made? Can I be trusted in this area, in that area, and with that? Have I been productive? Have I been adding to the growth of this organization? Or I have been like detrimental to the growth of the organization, always pulling it backward or pulling it down? Have I truly been the Christian that I should be?
Am I pulling my own weight?
Am I actually pulling my own weight? Like, you need to get to the point of telling yourself the truth. Today we have people lying. Like, you keep lying to yourself. You know that what you're doing is wrong, but you keep lying, giving excuses. Like, are you not tired of the excuse? I think this is another question that people should ask themselves. Like, are you not tired? Don't you think that this is the time for you to get up and get things working? Like, why is it that it has to be you? If other people in the organization or in the company or in the business are doing it, why am I not doing it? Like, we're all created in the image and likeness of God. And if we are created in the likeness of God, he did wonders. So he was not giving excuses. He was not lying. He was not stealing. He was not doing all of those things. So we need to come to that point, evaluating ourselves, and as you said, telling yourself the truth. being disciplined about what is right, and then not compromising in evaluating yourself. Find out the areas of your strength, find out the areas of your weaknesses. How can you overcome it so that your areas of weaknesses will not like overshadow that of your strength? We know that everybody has weaknesses and then strength, but let your weaknesses not be over your strength, but your strength over your weaknesses. So constantly ask yourself, is my area of weakness is I cannot be trusted with money, then what do I need to do to help myself? If it is lying, what do I need to do? You're always showing up at work late, or you end up not delivering on the responsibility you're being assigned. What can I do to change? Like, can you just say no to this? Like, stop the excuses and start implementing. Because if you access yourself and you don't work on your weaknesses, then you still remain there. Organizations do that, businesses do that assessment. We have places that they tell them, write what you feel about them, drop it. Why? Because they want to be better. We live in a very competitive world, and if you're into business, you're not doing better, you're not living up to your responsibility, people will leave you. Your customers will change direction. So it is through self-evaluation that you will know what you're doing right and the things you're doing wrong and the areas you need to improve. I think when we do that constantly, it's going to help us.
It is very important that we ask ourselves questions. You don't just live your life without asking yourself questions. You can't just base your life on people's standards just like that without actually asking yourself, what are my priorities? What is my purpose on earth? Who am I? Those questions are key, and you should continuously ask yourself those questions. And if you're able to have already answered those questions, you should continuously ask your questions like, did I do right by my standards? Did I do right by God's standards? Did I do right by the priorities that I have set for myself? Did I do right by the organization that has employed me? Those are questions that you need to continuously ask yourself, because if you don't do that, you won't be able to get nowhere.
That's a powerful one. If we want to grow, if we want to excel, if we want to do better, then we must constantly and continuously access ourselves. To all the people that followed us online, we've seen your likes, your comment. Thank you so much. We really appreciate. Prudence, that's been a swell ride with you.
Thank you. It was like lovely.
Thank you. And we're trusting God that tomorrow Engineer Tony and Sambo Solomon will join us on today's live. For now, we'll say you have a blessed day. Bye.
We often get into trouble when we react without knowing and understanding the facts.
Education goes beyond shaping us as individuals and enhancing our perspectives. It can help you become a better citizen and build a better society.
Don't be pushed around by the fears in your mind. Be pushed by the dreams in your heart.